that's just about 4 o'clock, so I think we'll begin. So on the screen, you can see there's 2 codes there, and all these are for is if you want to join the Microsoft Education Centre, these will help you redeem points towards becoming a Microsoft Innovative Educator, and you can use, both Mandy and I both do these training sessions, so we've both got codes on the screen, so that it's a bit of a random distribution. You can use the first code if you've got an even date birthday, so the 2nd or the 4th, etc., or the second code is if you have an odd date birthday. It's just so that the distribution is randomised. But good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to attend this CLPL session after what has probably been a very tiring Thursday, whether you are remote learning or back in the classroom. So we really appreciate you adding this onto your day and prioritising this session. So if you can register on the website that's shown on the screen, and if you're not sure how to do that, there is a clip in the comments of this meeting, which you can then check back on in the EDC Digital Learning Community team. But Class Notebook is a fantastic resource, so we'll get started. So today's session is all about Class Notebook and Microsoft Teams. So today, my name is Michaela Dixon. I teach Primary 1 at Wester Cledens Primary School in Bishopbriggs, and I'm joined today by the lovely Mandy Davidson, who's a secondary colleague at Lenzie Academy. So we've got both primary and secondary practitioners today, so that you can see what Class Notebook is like in practice from both a primary and secondary setting. Our contact information is on the screen, and again, said this fun fact in quite a lot of the training sessions, but Mandy and I have never actually met in real life, but we have became good friends, and we've been brought together by tech and the EDC Digital Learning Community. So if we were doing this training face-to-face today, hopefully that won't be too long before we can do that again. As some essential questions that you might want to think about are, how might a digital binder or planner with both private and collaborative spaces enhance student learning, and how might this digital notebook be enhanced when used within a rapid communication platform such as Microsoft Teams? So we'll talk about the value of Class Notebook first. So Class Notebook is run through a Microsoft app called OneNote, and this can facilitate collaboration. It can be over long periods of time or short periods of time. It acts like a digital binder, so it can either be used as your forward plan, your daybook. You can combine it all together. And there's lots of different ways you can use this, and Mandy and I will talk about this from both a primary and secondary view. And it provides pupils also, not just yourself, but pupils with a venue to discuss assignments with peers. They can ask questions, explore learning challenges, which are posted by their teachers, as well as providing a digital and a centralised environment for creating robust assignments, grading and engaging in feedback loops. So it is a bit like assignments, but again, it can be linked to the assignments feature, which is in Microsoft Teams, which the training was for a couple of days ago. That's been recorded, and that recording's been posted on the EDC Digital Learning Community page if you would like to watch that as well. But Class Notebook, it offers insight into student engagement with work that teachers assign. So again, if we were face-to-face, we would be talking about different things such as, how do you currently research and plan for upcoming curriculum and projects? So how do you plan units of work or topics or different things like that? And where does that research live or stay? Or where do you store that research, or where do you store your planning and things? How do you collect digital assets like links and videos for your students to use? Where do you keep them? Are they saved in a Word document? Whereabouts are they? Is that then sent to pupils? So just having a think about that. And then what ways do students need to communicate and collaborate in order to complete a group project or assignment? I know I'm in Primary 1 at the moment, and I know a group project is very much led by adults, but basically, if we were to complete a group project, it would be very much led by the adult. Things would be sent home, maybe via email and different things like that if they were completing everything at home, but it would be in the classroom is really where they would be able to collaborate, whereas Class Notebook is a really good way to do this digitally and through assignments as well. So I'm going to pass over to Mandy, who is going to talk about Class Notebook and Microsoft Teams.
Okay, so hopefully I'm going to have control, and I will be able to talk you through this, but I have a great difficulty in finding where the arrows are on this, so it will take me a while to actually move forwards. Let's see if we can find it. Here we go. Got it. Okay, so as you can see from these PowerPoints, sometimes we're given them from Microsoft and some of them we add our own. This one obviously has been given because anybody who knows me knows that I certainly would never be an S1 maths teacher starting a geometry unit, but whether I'm an S1 maths teacher starting a geometry unit or whether I am an RMPS teacher starting a unit on Christian values, it doesn't make any odds. Basically, as Michaela said, it is like a digital notebook and or a jotter, if we call it, as we did in Scotland. And so there is some private space where they can keep stuff themselves. And then there are places where you can collaborate. The pupils can collaborate with the whole class or even with groups. And we'll look at various ones like that. So to start off with, they talk about waking up and customizing a class notebook. In a team, you have the ability to have a class notebook, but it isn't automatically woken up. That's because they know that people will want different things in their class notebooks, and so the teacher themselves are responsible for actually creating it. And so it says that what you should do is to wake up the class notebook in every class that you've got, and then make sure that there is a teacher-only section. You may have to create that as the notebook is asking what you're wanting in it. The teacher-only section generally isn't in there unless you ask for it. I would definitely recommend it because the teacher-only section I use all the time for pieces of work that I'm going to put in there. I don't want the pupils to see it yet, but if there are other teachers that are sharing the jotter with me, I want them to be able to see it. So it's in the teacher only section. So definitely have one of those. It says explore the canvas and its features. That's actually the big space, which Michaela will show you in a bit. And you can see all the various things that you can put into the OneNote. And that's what makes it better than a jotter, because actually there's more space and there's more opportunity to have interactive stuff in it. And then it's suggesting that you apply it to an upcoming project or assignment and collect the materials, research, resources, etc. And then you can create the assignment using some of what you found. So the OneNote pages can be used in assignments. We talked about that on Tuesday when we were looking at assignments, but they can be used without being attached to assignments. It's your choice how you want to use them. So next page, right, so this is waking up the whole space. So what we have is over on the left hand side, it used to have a little sort of V-shaped arrow, and I used to go through making a first page for all of my classes so that, and it would say open the page using this arrow, but obviously other people have criticized it, and so now we have this bookcase here, so it looks like this is where you open it up. Once you have opened it or woken it up, as Microsoft say, then you have your sections that come into the left-hand column, and then after that the next column in is your pages. And then after that, whoop, I did not mean to do that. That's because I'm not sure how to use this thing. And after that, you have what is called the canvas area. And as you can see there, in that canvas area, what they've done is they've actually used the researcher tab that is up at the top, and they've got all sorts of information about the person that they're researching. And they've also added a video, embedded a video into the OneNote. And the great thing about the OneNote pages is you can embed YouTube videos, which come then without all the adverts and all the other stuff. It just is the bit of the video that you want, and it opens up looking like a video, which makes it very easy for the pupils to know what it is that they're actually supposed to be looking at. So, distributing to notebooks, is that still me, Michaela, or is that you?
Yep, no, that's still you just now.
That's still me, right, that's fine. Right, okay. So, they're suggesting that you create a page in the teacher-only section or in a single student notebook. I would say create it in the teacher-only section, because you can create that way in advance of when you want to distribute it, and it will then be there. Also, if you want to attach it to an assignment, if you have it in the teacher-only section, then you can attach it to the assignment and it will then go back into the pupil notebook, and you won't have two versions. If you have it in the pupil notebook to start with and then attach it to an assignment, they end up with double copies. So I would say definitely create a page in the teacher only section, then select the class notebook menu, which is on the bit above here, and select a distribute page. Now you can distribute pages to all sorts of different ways. You can distribute the page to the whole team. You can distribute the page to individual pupils. You can distribute the page to a set group that you've already made. And you can also distribute that page to other teams. So if you've got, like I have, you know, a large number of third year classes, then I set it in one teacher notebook on one of the teams. But when it comes to putting it across, then I can put it across multiple teams at the same time. And so you can use from the one page that you've got in your teacher notebook, you can actually populate a large number of pupils' notebooks.
Okay. So I'll just pass over, Mandy. Is that all right?
Okay, yep.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thanks very much. So I'll take you into Microsoft Teams and we'll have a look at all the things that we've just mentioned so that you can see what it is exactly that we are talking about. So I've lost my team, my class notebook team. Hold on, where are we? There we go, test team class notebook. So this is just a test team that I've set up. It's just for training purposes only so that you can see what this is like. So for class notebook, you would need to come into whatever team it is that you want to set it up for. And again, it will always be in that general channel. So if you've got several different channels at the side set up here, it will always be within the general channel. If you go to other channels, they do have files for notes, but that's not your class notebook. That's a separate section. So it would always be the general channel that you're looking for. And the way to get into your class's notebook is to go to the top tabs here and you're looking for the class notebook tab. Now that's added within every single class team, so just make sure when you're setting up your team that you set it up as a class and not like a staff or a PLC or a different type of team. So it's a class team. Come into your general channel and the class notebook tab should automatically appear at the top. Now I've not woken up the notebook in this team, so this is what it would look like for yourself. So you would just press, all you have to do is press the button, set up a OneNote class notebook. And this is the good option because, for example, I'm thinking more of secondary colleagues, but if you're teaching the same units of work maybe year after year and there's not been too many adaptations or anything, or maybe you've got kind of basic things that you have to teach every single year and you've got them set up in your notebook, you can actually set up a notebook from a previous one. So if you're teaching that same class year after year, or you can start afresh and start with a blank notebook. So today, for this purpose, we'll start with a blank notebook. Now, Mandy had mentioned the teacher-only section. It used to give you an option so that you could choose if you wanted a teachers-only section or not, but you don't get that anymore. You don't get the option. I think it just automatically sets it up, which actually is better because sometimes it was a bit of a faff around if you're trying to go back and find where the teacher-only section is to set it up. So automatically comes with this. Now this is quite a good little page, so it might, if you're setting this up, it might be good for you to go through this in your own time, but it tells you what each section is and who can do what in the section. So for example, this collaboration space, the teacher can edit the content and the students can edit the content. So if you put something in the collaboration space, pupils can then edit what's in there. The content library, the teacher can edit it, but the pupils can only view it. So if you put something in there, it's for them to look at, it's not for them to work on or collaborate on. Your teacher-only section, again, is only for the teacher. Students can't view this. They can't go into the team and see what's in your teacher-only section. So this is effectively where your planning would be, or tasks that the children aren't ready to see yet if you're maybe working on something. And then your student notebooks are a private space for each student, so that's like their digital jotter. So every pupil who's added into the class team, if you go up here and you add any members, so members would be your pupils and owners are your teaching staff or your teachers that are within the team, and any members are then given a student notebook, and then any owners can see the teacher only section. So for example, if you've got a job share partner or if you're collaborating with another member of staff, if they're set to an owner in your team, which you can do by managing your team, then they'll be able to see the teacher only section. So it's not like there's a separate section for each teacher, it's the teacher only section, if that makes sense. So to set this up, you just click next, and every student notebook or pupil notebook will have their name. So that's what it will look like. Their name will be there, and then there's several different sections. Now, these are just standard by Microsoft. It's always handouts, class notes, homework and quizzes, but you can delete some of the sections. And sometimes it might be better to start with less rather than more. So rather than giving them a space for every curricular area or every unit of work or something like that, it might be best to maybe start with 1 or 2 sections, and then over time you can then add sections later on as well. So you might start with something, I'm thinking of again a primary setting, but I might start with a literacy section and maybe a maths or numeracy section, and then maybe a health and wellbeing. So the thing is, just to be aware, if you've got lots of sections at the beginning when you set up your notebooks, if you wanted to then change them and go, oh, do you know what, I don't really want that section anymore, you would need to individually go into each pupil's class notebook and delete it. There's not a section that goes, right, okay, we'll just delete all these sections. You would have to do it individually. So just be aware that you're maybe better to start with less, and then if you want to add more sections over time, then you can maybe go back and do that, because you can add a section to all of the notebooks, but you can't delete a section from all of the notebooks. So it's just to be aware of that. And then once you're happy with what sections you would like in, you can click create. And it usually takes a couple of minutes. It shouldn't take too long because it's only Mandy that's been added into this team as a pupil, so we can then see what this looks like. I'll take a few minutes and then I'll show you each section that Mandy's already kind of briefly spoke through. So every notebook starts with this page, so it's Welcome to Class Notebook. And again, like Mandy said, this used to be an arrow, but now it's a little bookshelf, so it can be a bit confusing if the pupils go in and they think, well, I don't know how to add any work to this, I don't really know where I'm supposed to put anything, I can't see any of my work that you've assigned to me. So it's really important that if it does open like this for your pupils, which it should, that they are going to that navigation section where they can then see different parts. Now, they won't see the teacher only section, but your pupils will see the collaboration space, the content library, and then their name. And their name is where their work will be distributed to. So, for example, we've got Mrs. Davidson. She is our pupil, and this is what our student notebook looks like. So we can see the 3 sections that I've already added there. So I've added maths, health and wellbeing and literacy, and Mandy has these sections. Now, every pupil would have these sections. So if we had more than one pupil, you'd be able to see that every pupil is given the same 3 sections throughout their notebooks. Now, you can add sections here, and you can add different pages. But for example, if we click maths, there'll be nothing in that yet. That's why it says just untitled page. And then we can click the page here to look at what this looks like. Now, the wonderful thing about Notebook is OneNote doesn't give you a page like Microsoft Word does. So once you've finished the end of a page, it would then move on to the next page, whereas OneNote is just a rolling page and it just goes on. So your pupils can just continue to scroll, and it doesn't look like, oh, there's 1 page or 2 pages. So it just continues. No matter how much content you go, it will just continue to go down and down and down and down and down, and it doesn't stop. So if I come back up, I'm just pressing delete, 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 delete. There we go. So your title would be here, and you can insert lots of different things here, which I'll go through as well. So again, each section won't have anything in it. They'll all be empty, and each section is given a colour-coded tab, which again should be the same for all of your pupils. But if it's not, I wouldn't worry too much about it. You can change them if you're really wanting to go that extra mile. So that's your pupil notebook. That's what it looks like when it's set up. You've then got your teacher only section, which we were talking about. So this is where you can insert your planning and different things. And again, with Notebook, it is quite good. It can be quite a complex thing to look at to begin with. You might think, oh, there's too many sections, there's lots of different things, but there is usually an information page. There's a welcome information page, which we've already looked at, and now this is getting started with the teacher only section. So you can read through this as well, and this is just standard from Microsoft. It's inserted in every class notebook, and it just tells you some ideas. You can put your lesson plan notes in there. You could maybe have supply notes in there or things like that, or if you're doing a job share or something like that. And you've got different activities that can be then moved into the content library. So you can put your plan in, or if you've got a kind of worksheet style, task that the children have to do, you can then keep it in here until you're ready to put it in the content library, or just send it directly to pupils. And it's just saying that you can save time by using the class notebook toolbar, which I'll show you, because within Teams, sometimes you can't see the class notebook toolbar like we showed you a couple of minutes ago in the slides. So if you just look at this arrow here, it will give you more tabs. So you've got your home, insert, draw, view, help, and then if you go to more tabs, class notebook's hiding in there. I really wish they would move it because it probably would make life a lot easier. But yeah, so it's hiding in there, but it is there. You can also download the OneNote app, which will, again, it might make it easier for you to, once you get used to using Class Notebook, you can maybe download the OneNote app and you can actually open your Class Notebook in the OneNote app on your desktop computer or on an iPad or on a mobile device, and you can then use it that way as well. So if I come back here to our navigation part, I'll go through the next section. So there's the content library. So again, there's an information page and it gives you examples of things that you can use in your content library there. So it could be pre-made pages that you insert here, or it could be an information sheet, or it could be things, basically just anything that you're wanting your pupils to read can be inserted into the content library. And this can then be linked into their assignments, which I'll show you in a couple of minutes as well. And then you've got your collaboration space here, which Mandy will show you a little bit more in depth shortly. So again, this is where you can put different sections in here as well for groups of pupils to collaborate and work together, maybe on a class project or if they're working on something collaboratively in class as well. So if I come back here and come back to the teacher only section, this is where everything is private. So if you were wanting to add something, you can add a page or you can add a section. So for example, if I was going to plan some literacy activities, I would maybe add a section here, and I'm just going to call it literacy. So I know where my literacy planning is going to be. I'm going to add another section as well, and I'm going to have my maths planning in here as well. So I can add sections to the teacher only section, just like the pupil notebook, and then you can insert different things. So I'm going to plan my literacy home learning for next week. So the date always comes up here as well, but I would maybe say week beginning, and next week is the 1st of March, I think, already. Well, that's shortly anyway. Losing track of the days here. So 1st of March 2021. And then, so I would maybe have the date here, and then you can insert lots and lots of different things here. So if you've got a kind of pre-made PDF or a worksheet or something like that that you want to put in, you can insert that here. So you can insert files into your notebook pages. You can insert tables. If we look at files, printout comes up as an image, whereas if you insert a file as an attachment, they then need to open that. So I would always kind of recommend doing it as a printout so they can see what it is you want them to look at right away. You can insert pictures from camera, from online, from files. You can insert links here as well, and as Mandy's already showed us, you can actually insert and embed videos within OneNote pages, and it means they're not being taken away from Teams or from OneNote. They're staying within there. They're not being redirected onto YouTube, onto a browser or anything like that. The videos are embedded within here. And you can also insert audio, which is absolutely fantastic for feedback. I'm kind of posing this to particularly young learners who maybe aren't able to read yet, or they have reading as a barrier to their learning, because if you can insert some verbal feedback, then they can then listen to that and they can take that into account to improve their work for next time. There's loads of different things you can add. There's symbols, which again, sometimes I remember back in the day, I used to Google the symbol and then copy and paste it from Google. So they're all built in there as well. And then we've got math symbols as well, so you can do different equations and things, especially for secondary maths teachers. This is a really valuable tool, and I would advise you to just go and explore that when you've got time, because I'm not an expert in maths like I'm sure our secondary colleagues are, so it might be worth you having a wee look at that on your own. And then we've got emojis and stickers and all sorts of different things, but again, these are good for feedback, and if you're wanting to show a pupil that you've acknowledged something as well, anything you insert into the page will have a we call it a digital signature, but it's got a name and a time of when you have given or added anything onto a pupil's page. So if you went through and maybe given a comment or maybe 2 stars and a wish or something like that, then they can see who left them that comment and what time it was left as well. But again, there's loads of different things, meeting details, stickers, forms, which is absolutely brilliant that this can be embedded right into a class notebook page as well. Especially we've got standard stickers, there's lots of different images, Again, you can personalise these as well. There's ones, if they've got the little pencil, you can then edit them. So you can have well done, but you can actually edit the text to say, well done, Mandy, super duper. And you can then insert that into the OneNote page as well. So again, that's for feedback, but that gets inserted in there like that. Now, the thing is, you don't have to save your OneNote pages. These are automatically synced. And the reason that you know this has worked is this is your sync status. It was syncing just there when those arrows went round, and we can now see the cloud, and there's a little, I know it's really quite difficult to see, but there's a little tick and that little black dot there that shows that this page has synced. So if I click that there, we can see page saved, page last synced just now, and it'll tell you the time of that as well. So if I come back out of here, the notebook's now been woken up, and what I'm briefly going to show you just now, which again will be shown in the slides anyway, is how to link class notebook into assignments. So what you would do first is you would go into your assignments section, okay, and I'll show you how to link it, and then show you how to create something in your notebook which you then assign. So we'll do a draft assignment very quickly. So create, we've got an assignment here, and we're going to say it's going to be a literacy task. It's always literacy with me, I don't know why that is, but literacy task for, I'll do week beginning 1st March. Literacy tasks. Please complete, oh, there's always a typo in the training. Please complete a page within class. Again, you can insert lots of different things, but the power of this is you can add your resources, and then this is where you would add your class notebook page. So the option would come up here, and this is where you would link it. Now, you can link things from your teacher only section, but I would always try and keep that private, and I would link it from your content library. So once you've finished your planning of your activity in your teacher only section, you can then copy it into your content library. It means there's a copy in there that students can view, so pupils can view them, but they won't be able to edit them in there. But if you link a copy of this into your assignment, it means that they can then complete it within the assignment. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So again, there's no pages here that I can insert, but I could insert this using content library. Cancel that and come back. So that's just how you would link it to your class notebook. But again, if I go to my class notebook just now, that will save that assignment as a draft because I've just left it there. And I'm going to go into my teacher only section, and I'm going to go to literacy, and this here I'm going to say, right, you would maybe have your learning intention success criteria. We are learning to tell them what we're learning to do. We're learning to explore the joined phoneme. So put that in there, and then what I'm looking for. And then you can put in your success criteria in here, read, write, identify, etc. You can insert bitmojis, you can insert whatever your tasks are. What I quite like to do is insert videos of things like that you've maybe found on YouTube, again, that maybe doesn't take them into the browser for that, so possibly a Geraldine giraffe or something. Sorry to my secondary colleagues who are probably sitting going, what on earth is she talking about? So I'll move this up here. Right, I'm quite happy with that. Finished my task. I'm going to copy this into my content library. So you would right click the task, and then you can then press copy, and you can then copy this into your content library. You can copy it into different sections, but I'm just going to press content library, and I'm going to just pop it in this section here because I've not created another section. I'm going to press copy. So page was copied into using the content library. So if I go back in here and go to that using the content library section, you'll see that the task has then been copied into here. So I'll pop back into my assignments. I'm ready to assign that now. So that's disappeared because it's in my drafts. And this was the one here. So I'll go to add resources again so we can just see how this works. Class notebook. And then I'm going to go to content library. And it was in this section here. And we have week beginning 1st of March, and you can just attach it. Now, once you've attached, it'll ask what section you want to put the task in. So it was a literacy one, just a quick example. Press done. And the beauty of this is, in the content library, there's a copy there that students can view, but they can't edit or do anything with it. But now that you've did this on an assignment, students can edit their own copy. So if you've got a template for something, they're all going to get their individual template. Instead of you walking around the room handing out a photocopy of something, they're all getting their template and it's sent to them digitally, so they can then go in and edit their own copy. Another little tip is, if there's anything that you go, right, I want to just make sure that was definitely the right task, you can click it, you can have a look and you think, oh, do you know, I've made a typo there. I'll just fix it just now. So I'll just say, oh, I forgot to add in the success criteria. What a shame. So read words, including the joined phoneme. So just for saying sake, that's one of the success criteria. So I've added that in there. Now, because this is all linked, it's synced now. Yep, there we go. So if I press close and then I go, right, okay, I'll just double check that that's worked. So if I press close and I then go back into Class Notebook and check my original, once it loads, this will then automatically sync to that copy as well. So here's the copy that I inserted into the notebooks, and there is the success criteria updated in there as well. So if you edit it in the assignment, it will then edit the version that's in the content library as well. So it means that you're not having to go back and double check things that are all edited. I mean, it will send what you've got in that page, and then students will all get their own copy of that. So if I just go back in, you'll see that this is exactly what they will see, and they'll be able to add in text and view the video and everything else that they would maybe do within your assignment there. And again, you don't have to press save or anything, it all syncs automatically, so you would then click close, but you do need to be connected to the internet for this. You just need to make sure when you're syncing that you're connected to the internet so that that works properly. You can then click assign. So Mandy, here you are, I've assigned you a little phonics task, there we go. And then that's it really for attaching it within assignments. So if I come back to the slides, I'll just briefly. So again, once you've assigned that to someone, you can then leave feedback. Like I've said already, you can directly type into there, and you can send work back for revision through assignments as well within that feedback loop. And you can assign marks, and you can reuse your old assignments as well. So again, I've just basically demonstrated this already. So you create any home learning for your classes and your teacher-only section, you would copy it over into your content library, so there's a copy saved in there, and then you can assign it through assignments, just like it says here. So add in your class notebook page as a resource, as we've just done, and then I've pressed assign, and it's sent it straight to Mandy. So again, this was another example. I was just basically going over this. Just make sure it's synced, and you can press the close to come out of it. This is just a previous example from another training session. So again, this is what it would look like when it's sent to the pupils. So the instructions would be here, the example here. We've got the fantastic immersive reader in here as always. So if the pupils can't actually read the instructions, immersive reader can read it to them. And then your OneNote page will be inserted here. Now, Mandy told us on Tuesday, and it was just if you weren't able to attend that training, just to go over that you can't actually insert more than one OneNote page in an assignment. It's only one page that you can insert at a time for this, and they can only insert one when they're handing in an assignment as well. So they would just click their hand in button. And all the pupils have to do is they can complete this directly within Teams. If they click this and open this task, they can put whatever they want to put in. They just press close, like what was in this corner, and it will sync the activity. And then they just click hand in, and that's them completed their work. They're not having to do anything else. So as I've shown you already, you can type comments for feedback, record audio for verbal feedback. You can insert stickers, or you can copy and paste emojis in as well. The draw function is really, really nice. Actually, I'll quickly show you what that looks like as well. So if we go in here, so Mandy's not looked at this, so it says not handed in. But if I go to the student view, I'll click this task, and you can actually draw within OneNote as well. Most recently updated versions of Microsoft Word will have the draw function as well, but edit, sorry, make changes right here. But OneNote's got it built in as well, so we can actually go, you can literally tick something, or if they've done something really well, and go, oh, well done, or you can draw. And again, this is where you can write your equation in ink as well. So let's see if this works just now. Oh, so I could do this on the screen, or if you scroll down this menu, there's examples here as well. So it says select your equation. So you can type it using the keyboard and select it. Oh, it's not letting me select it just now. Come off of that just now. There we go. So just come back to the slides, and then again you can review student work as well. So I'll quickly, very, very quickly show you how to do that. So if you've inserted that at the same page to all your pupils, or you've inserted it to a group of pupils, you can then do the review student work option as well, and I'll show you where to find that. So if you're in Class Notebook, there's these tabs at the top, and if you go to that Class Notebook tab again, when it loads, there we go, we're in Class Notebook now. You can distribute pages. Again, this is really, really useful because you can individually distribute pages. You can distribute them to groups or cross notebook, which I know Mandy has done in the past as well. But groups is really good for example, if you are grouping your children by ability groups and maybe having several different maths groups or literacy groups, you can send the same task to the same pupils, and it actually lets you save your groups in here, whereas with assignments, it doesn't let you save your groups. So I'll show you this very quickly for an example, and then I'll show you what the review student work looks like as well. So if you go to group distribution, it lets you create groups. Now, obviously, I've only got Mandy as one pupil in here, but if I had several different pupils, I would always give them the name of what their group is in class. So, for example, the comics reading. I'm going to click Mandy and save that there. So Mandy, you're now in the comics reading group. That's fine. If you've made a mistake, you can go in and edit who's in the group. If your groups are changed, you can go back and edit them, or you can delete the group altogether. So I've now got the comics reading group. And once you've created your groups here, you can then click, so this Welcome to Class Notebook page is the page I've got open, but I'm going to go to another page. So, for example, I'm going to go back to that very page that we were looking at before. This is what I'm going to distribute to Mandy. So if I click the comics reading group, this page would be sent to every pupil that is in this group. I would just click next. And what section would I like it in? This time I'm going to put it into maths. This is only just to show you how to do this. And then you click distribute. Now, once you've sent that, it will tell you when it's finished doing that. But if it doesn't appear right away, it's just syncing. I wouldn't send it 2 or 3 times, because there's been issues before where people have said, oh, it said it's distributed, but it's not working. I'll just do it again and again. And they've done it 3 times. And then later on in the day, the same task has been distributed 3 times to the same pupil. And it's coming up as 3 separate pages rather than just the one task. So this has now been sent to Mandy. It's been distributed this way. So if I wanted to look through this particular task in every pupil in that group, I can then click the Review Student Work button. And when I click that, this option will come up here. What task is it I want to review? So I pop that in the Maths section. So I'll click Maths and then go Next. And then it was this
Your
task.
Your screen's frozen, Michaela. We can't see you moving anything more.
No. Thank you. Can you let me know when it's caught up? Is it moving now?
Yeah, it's moving now.
Thank you so much. So then I pop back onto this task, click that task that I distributed to Mandy's reading group, press next, and then it'll let me go through every pupil's version of this. So because I've given them a copy to edit on their own, I can then go through the list that way as well. And if there is, which again, this can be used if you're gathering evidence for something, you can then lock pages, but this only works, as I've recently discovered, if you distribute pages. You can't lock pages that pupils maybe add on their own, or if you add individually without using the distribute functions. So you can lock pages, and it basically just means that Mandy can't add anything to this anymore, so this page can no longer, once I've pressed apply, this can't be edited anymore. But if you then wanted to change your mind about that, you can then unlock the pages. So you press page locking and you can then unlock them as well. So it means if you say you want to gather something for evidence, you can lock the page so that nothing else can be added into there. And again, the digital signatures would come up, so it would say who added what on the page. And that's not just teachers, that's pupils as well. So if I go back to our slides. Okay. Mandy, over to you for student collaboration in Class Notebook.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm requesting control.
There we go.
Hopefully I'm going to be able to see where the button is. There we
Hey.
go. Right, okay, so student collaboration. As we've said before, it is really useful for every pupil to have their own digital jotter, but sometimes it's useful for them to be working together, particularly if you're doing group projects and they're all in their own homes. Actually having a place where they can work on together is very, very useful. And the collaboration space is actually one of those spaces. So you've got your class notebook, and their own bit that has their own name is the space that is private to them. Only you and they can see it. But the collaboration space is one where they can work on in group projects. And as Michaela's already said, the content library is where you can keep your read-only materials. And so the chat feature that goes down the side that teachers are able to automatically chat privately isn't there. Glow doesn't allow us to do that. Just like when we were looking at a previous page that Michaela was showing and it said something about parent-enabled links, we don't have that in Glow. So don't go looking for that, because we just don't have that enabled. We don't have anything that enables the parents to actually get into anything on Glow. But they can collaborate in their collaboration space because everybody can write and everybody can read in it. So the Microsoft's got you to imagine that your assignment's out for the class and you want spaces where students collaborate, and you also want to be able to check on them. Then you can actually create sections in the collaboration space within the team, so that you can have sort of semi-private spaces, a bit like, for those of you that have done the stuff on meetings, a bit like breakout rooms, but just in terms of where they're going to be able to collaborate on their writing. So moving on. Hopefully, there we go. Now, this is something that was done earlier, just to show that if you had a project and everybody could then write their own idea of what could go into their geometry project. And what will happen is that each bit that the pupil writes will have its own digital signature, so you will know who has written what, which is really good if you're looking for evidence of people working in a group, as opposed to having a group with only one person doing the working. And this again is showing you they've got the sharks shapes group, and they are looking at all the various things to do with their research, and you can see that there are comments there that the teacher has made, and there are names by the pictures that the pupils have put in to show that this is how everybody can collaborate together. So this bit is the bit that the pupils are working on. They call it a canvas because it is more than just a page, because it goes on both widthways and lengthways for as long as you want it to go. Obviously, if you're trying to print it out, which some people want to do, it will print out as a PDF. But in terms of actually using it online, it can be as wide and as broad as you've got stuff to put on that canvas. So you can leave messages in the section assignments tab, prompting the students how to get on with it. You can find the corresponding section in the collaboration space, and you can get the students to actually understand how their notebook works, because obviously it's as you are having getting used to it, so are they. And other little hints and tips from somebody who's been using this for a long time is, if your pupils are in the main using the iPad or their phones, then they really need the OneNote app in addition to the Teams app to get the full functionality of it. Otherwise, the OneNote doesn't really work on a phone. But if they've got the OneNote app, it does. I've got it on my phone and it works perfectly okay. It's if they don't have that, they just have the Teams. Whereas the Teams will enable you to use PowerPoint and Word. The OneNote, it won't do without the OneNote app. Right, so looking at the collaboration space and how you can use it, just like Michaela says, the collaboration space does exist in everybody's notebook, and it will have an introduction page telling you how to use the collaboration space, just like everybody else's notebook, and also the sections that you can create and the individual pages. So as you can see on my book, I have Mrs. Barry as my pupil, and so she has the ability to get into the collaboration space. She has the ability to see the content library, but she cannot see the teacher only bit because she's the pupil. And I then have created a group within the collaboration space, and I've called it Group A. And Mrs. Barry is in Group A, but Mr. Bradley is not. So that means that Mrs. Barry can see all the stuff in the collaboration space with anybody else I choose to put in Group A, but Mr. Bradley would not be able to see that. He'd see the stuff in the general collaboration space, but he wouldn't see the stuff in Group A because he's going to be in Group B, and I've not yet created that. So there's the wrapping up. But what I want to do, hopefully, is to share my screen to show you a bit how you get on with it. But the question is whether you'll get to see the right bit. So it usually takes me 2 or 3 attempts. So let's see how we go. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Oh, that was the first attempt. So that was really, really good. All right. Okay. So here we are in the trial group. And as I said, in the collaboration space, we have Group A, and if we go into Group A, then we can have the group's research on cats. And actually, I did put Mrs. Barry and Mr. Bradley in there, if I remember, because I wanted to show you the fact that different people can put different things in. So as you can see, I have put, very good, Mrs. Barry, who is this? And I put very good, and the comment was, who was it? And I've now digitally linked it's Mrs. Barry. And what I've noticed is that there is a difference between doing it in the app and doing it in the online OneNote. In the case of it, it actually moves a little bit. So my dots were there because that's where the initials came up for the individual's writing. But as you can see now, it's not come up at all on the online version. I've shown you that I can do writing as well as typing. They've put in pictures and they've actually put in text. And it was just really to show you that they can collaborate on this and you can see everything that they're doing, but the other people in the class that are not in that group would not be able to see that. Now, in terms of how you set that up, I'm trying to remember how I did it now. You go into class notebook and you open it in the browser.
So we can still see your Teams page, Mandy.
You can still see the Teams. It's okay because I'm actually in the wrong place. I've just realised that this isn't where you sort the things out. Where you sort the things out. So I'll go back to where I am. Where you sort the things out are actually in the notebook in the first place. Let's try again. So we'll go back to the team. Right, okay. Go into the class note. Yep. Can you see that?
Yep, it's your browser version of the book now.
Where it says over here, manage notebooks, that's where you go to sort out your groups. So you have to sign in again, right? Okay. Go. And you can see there, it's my teacher only enabled space. You can lock or unlock the collaboration space as you want to do it. And then you go into collaboration space permissions. So by going into collaboration space permissions, that's where you can create them. So obviously there are 3 students in my collaboration space. I've put 2 of them in group A. If I wanted to add another one, then I could call that group B. And I could put Miss Carty in it. And as you can see, whilst it's saving, there's a little tab which says give read-only access to other people in the group, which means you can set it up so that Mrs. Barry and Mr. Bradley in Group A could see what Miss Carty was putting in Group B, but they couldn't add anything to it, but they can do the stuff on their own notebook. Or if you don't tick that box, then that bit is completely private to the group that you've created and the teachers. Obviously, all the teachers in the team can look at everything that's in there. So it's not private without the teachers, but it is private to other people's. And then the using collaboration space, as it says, there are 3 students there because that's the general collaboration space and everybody can collaborate in that bit. If you've decided you've had enough with the collaboration because you're not keeping an eye on it and it's going out of hand, then you literally just click it and you've locked the collaboration space. And now everything that's in there will remain, but they cannot actually get into the collaboration space and do anything with it. Okay, so as I said, the parent and guardian links don't work with us with Glow, so there's no point in getting excited about that. We have been asking for many, many years, but I don't know, it's all to do with privacy rules and the way in which Glow likes to organise stuff. So I now have a blank space.
That's all right.
Have you taken over, or have I just got a blank space? This is the question. Let me see.
There we go.
If I stop presenting now, then
that's us.
That's us.
Yes, so just wrapping up, if we think back again, you can maybe think about how Class Notebook relates back to being a digital binder. We've talked about the private sections, the collaboration spaces, and how this could possibly enhance student learning with different projects and things, giving them that digital platform to use as well, especially if we are in a period of remote learning. And again, if we think about how could the digital notebook be enhanced when you're using something like Teams. So again, it can be used within Teams. However, you can download the OneNote app and link notebooks that way as well. So it's just Microsoft OneNote. I do prefer to use the app, but I know initially I did do everything through Teams because that's how I found out about Class Notebook in the first place. And then again, I've attached the handouts and the takeaways and the comments of the meeting. So if you do want to go back to them at any point, they can talk you through different things step by step. These slides again were taken from Microsoft, and you can find different things on there at the support.office.com/education. But if you've got any questions, I mean, we're here. We've kind of actually, I think this is the first time ever we've actually finished training early before the set time. So if you want to ask any questions or if you're not sure about anything, feel free to just pop them in the comments just now and we'll try to answer them as best we can for you. But if you go away and have a trial or a play about with it and you think, oh gosh, I don't know, I don't really understand, or I've done something wrong, I don't know what I've done wrong, Mandy and I are both really keen to help, and you can ask us questions as well, and if there's any kind of support or any answers we can give you, then we're happy to do so. But again, if you pop anything in the EDC digital learning community, it usually is answered pretty quickly. So if you do have any questions, if you tag anyone in the team, people usually are very keen to help and answer questions, which is great. But don't forget to at least have a look at, if you've never looked at it before, it's a really, really good resource, especially for professional learning. It's the Microsoft Education Centre website. The link's on the screen here. And I've popped it in the comments as well, I'm sure, with actually I'll put it in with the codes, that will maybe be easier. But as Mandy and I are both trainers, if you've got an even date birthday, so it can be random distribution, can you use the first code, and if you've got an odd date birthday, can you use the second code? And it basically just, it earns you points, it registers that you've completed this training, and you can then look at all the different professional learning opportunities on there, because if there's something you want to know about a piece of Microsoft software, it'll be on there. There's lists and lists and lists of different things that are really, really interesting. The only thing I will say, as Mandy's already mentioned, not everything is enabled in Glow. So we get really, I know I did when it popped up, but I get really excited about private channels within Teams, but that's something that we can't actually get through Glow. I think it's to do with, again, privacy and safeguarding issues. So if you do go on and look on there, there are loads and loads of things that are really, really beneficial if you can. I've taken the QR code away, so just ignore that, please. But there's a video clip on the comments to show you how to use the code and where to put it and things. And yeah, if there's any questions, please pop them in the comments, or unmute your microphone and just ask away, because we're happy to help. I know it is quite a lot, so you might want to watch this. This has been recorded, so if you want to watch the recording back when it's posted on the EDC digital learning community, then you can feel free. But thanks very much for coming along again today, and we do appreciate it, because we know it's getting near the end of the week, and I'm sure we're all knackered, so thank you very much, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
The only other thing that I have to add is, although Michaela's put in the link of how to go onto the MEC, the Microsoft Education Centre, you can equally do it on a purple shield tile that is in our Glow Launchpad. If you find the one, it's got the purple shield on it, it'll take you straight there. The other advantage is that they keep changing it to suit the teachers. So one of the things that teachers have asked very much for is that there was a section that said products, where you could go in and just look at all the videos that you need to know to help you use PowerPoint or Forms or OneNote, and they've just put them all in one place. It makes it a lot easier than it used to be. But any badge that you do comes with a whole explanation of all of the training that you've done that you can easily attach to your professional update. So it's well worth looking at doing some of the badges, because it just gives you familiarity of the things that you're using all the time, but it then gives you the transcript to say that you have done the training on that. So I would definitely recommend that. And if you're not sure if something's in Glow or not, just ask us on the team. It's something that we genuinely ask all the other experts around Scotland. Is it on Glow? Is it on Glow? Before you start getting excited about it. And things have been being put onto Glow all the time. Stream's a new one that's just coming up. We're not sure what we're going to be allowed to do on it yet, but it will be something that will be coming up in the future. So it's always changing, and it's always responding to what teachers are actually asking for. So that's the great thing about Microsoft.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree. Even if I just click this link, and I'll try and briefly show you where to kind of navigate. Gosh, I think this has actually opened up Internet Explorer. Yeah, it has. So with the codes that were on the screen, again, I'll pop them in the comments in a minute or two, you would then go to sign in. But there are loads of different things here. So there's a training section, and like Mandy's just mentioned, there's a product section. So like we've got Microsoft Teams, Immersive Reader, Flipgrid, OneNote, and you can see all the different ones. Or there's training. There's learning paths, which is like a series of courses. So you can complete a learning path if you're learning about a specific thing, or there are different courses. So if I've just clicked courses, oh, it's taken a wee while. But yeah, there are lots and lots, and you can actually search. So if you're looking for something in particular, so oh, there's Wakelet there. We've got lots of different ones. There's a wee Flipgrid one, but the list goes on. So there's 180 results there just now, 180 courses. But again, if you're looking for it, maybe if you're a beginner at something, intermediate, advanced, there's lots of different things on here. I'm trying to think of something that looks SharePoint in the classroom, Minecraft, Hour of Code. There's so much on here to be explored. And then all you would have to do is sign in. So you'd put in either, now it depends on what email address you're going to use. You pop your email address in here, and then I'll just go back just now just to show you. But in that top right hand corner would be a little circle with your initials in it, and then you can then redeem the codes there. And I'll pop the clip on for you so you can see how to do that. But if nobody's got any questions, again, thanks very much for coming. We really appreciate it. And if you do go away and play with Class Notebook and think, do you know, I'm trying to do something but I just can't work out how to do it, then by all means just ask us. We're happy to help. But again, thanks for coming.